Yeah, sure. Let's go here. Good viewers are those who can view the commonplace world around them uncommonly well. Colin, start us off. Subject predicate pairs. Viewers are. Very good. There's a helping verb. And looks like that's it. Yep, that's it. Okay, so where is my division between the clauses? Between those and who? Nice job. So good viewers are those. And if you said, well, Mr. Clarkson, that can't be independent, that's got to be dependent. But if I say, your papers are those, that sentence makes sense. That works. It's not the best sentence in the world. It's not exactly very clear. It's begging for some explanation. But grammatically, it's intact. The explanation is right here. There's your dependent. There's your independent. Colin, what's the dependent doing? Telling about the viewers. Really close. Pretty difficult because this one's linking verb. It's not modifying viewers. Correct. And since it's modifying those, what part of speech is it, Colin? The adjective is correct. Colin, here's what the problem was. Since are is a linking verb, that means these two are equal. Those and viewers are very similar. But here's the rule that I invoked to tell the difference. There you go. Adjective clauses almost always follow the modified word directly. In English, we can throw adverbs anywhere in the sentence that we like to. Adverbs can float. So I can say, I harshly pecked the keyboard, or I can say, harshly I pecked the keyboard, or I can say, I pecked the keyboard harshly. Or, I pecked harshly the keyboard. That one makes the least amount of sense. But harshly can throw itself around the sentence anywhere. And in English, it still makes sense. Adjectives can't do that. So if I say, I stapled with the I stapled the papers black with the stapler, you're going to say what? Which word is misplaced?
Black.
Black. Where should black be? I stapled the papers black with the stapler. The black stapler. Adjectives in English only associate directly with their nouns. If you throw them somewhere else in the sentence, it doesn't make sense. If you have a single adjective, it comes before the noun. Which language reverses that? Spanish and French. Spanish and French place adjectives after nouns. English places adjectives before nouns. Except for adjective clauses. They follow. They follow directly after. So if you have an entire adjective clause, if I say, the stapler which is sitting on the table, what's my adjective clause? Which is sitting on the table, and it follows stapler. So you know, just by English syntax rules, that it's modifying stapler. Ian, you want to try it? Or you have a question?
I have a quick question about the last page, the last one.
The last sentence?
On the page 4.
Yeah?
What does the when, what's it? Modifying?
The when is, okay, here's what the when is. Oh, that whole phrase? It's modifying were restored.
Okay.
Yep, it's an adverb modifying were restored.
Okay.
Whenever governments become arbitrary, the people behave as though they themselves were the victims. John? Yeah, that's where we start. Government becomes, excellent. People behave. Very good. One more. They were. Excellent. John, find the dividing lines between the clauses. The comma is correct. That's correct. Which of those three is your independent clause, the one that can stand on its own? I'm sorry? That is correct. Oops. But that is not correct. Independent. And the other two are dependent. John, you did an excellent job. Throw it out to the entire class. What are those dependent clauses doing? Christian?
The first one is an adverb which modifies behave.
That's correct. It's telling when the people behave. When do they behave this way? They behave this way whenever the government becomes arbitrary, so it's modifying behave. As though they themselves were the victims. Omar? Nope. People as though they themselves were victims. Doesn't really make sense. Here's your test. That rule I just gave you, adjective clauses follow the word. Place it right behind the word and see if it makes sense. Doesn't make sense to me. The people as though they themselves were the victims. Modifying. That's correct. You can have two adverbs modifying the same verb. So I can speak quickly and loudly. That's two adverbs modifying the verb speak. Adverbs, or these two clauses, both modify the verb behave. I love smartboards. No, let's go. Except when they resize. I don't love smartboards when they resize. There we go. Okay. Let's see. But during the past few decades, new discoveries have been made by scientists who have become convinced of the real existence of black holes. Two noun-verb pairs. Kristen? Go ahead. Yes, and it's called a compound sentence, but they're joined by coordinating conjunctions. Anybody remember the coordinating conjunctions off the top of their head? Hold on, hold on. And, but, what? Nope. Or, so, nope, that's subordinating. Nope, subordinating. Nor. Two more. Yet. Didn't I give you the mnemonic device? Oh, man. No, no. You guys gave them to me out of order. The mnemonic device always makes me feel a little bit iffy. But you know what? Since we had that conversation about Gretchen's book on Friday, I'm okay talking about anything. Of course, you could make it a little bit less iffy, a bit more comfortable by saying fanboys.
Wait, what is the F?
4. But there's your mnemonic device. You just memorized all the coordinating conjunctions in English. You are using coordinating conjunctions often in your compound sentences. But Kristen's question is excellent. Can you just have two independents? Yes, but they're joined by this. The word whenever, the word who, these are not coordinating conjunctions. So memorize your coordinating conjunctions, know them, and then you can identify compound sentences. Yeah, the S is so. But the S will drive you nuts because sometimes it's actually subordinating. It depends upon how it's used. Emily.
If you have a compound sentence with two independent clauses,
Yes.
is one of the words be in one of the clauses?
Yes, technically it'd be on the edge between the two. So if I say I walked to the store and I bought milk, the word and joins the two. But coordinating conjunctions are, well, here's the difference. Subordinating conjunctions have content. They say something. So if I say the word because, that's actually a word that has content, right? I say, I read the book because I wanted to pass the test. It shows a differential relationship between those two clauses. One is the reason for the other one's existence. Does that make sense? Okay, so the word because has content. The word and has almost no content. It just says, it barely has any meaning. It just says these two things are both true. So we consider them to be coordinating, we consider them to be lesser, and therefore we consider the two clauses to be equal. Does that make sense? Cool. Then you just understood the difference between coordinating and subordinating conjunctions. Yes?
Are we doing someone or someone reports back?
Yes. Non sequitur. All right. If you don't know what it means, look it up. All right. What do we got? 2 pairs. Omar. And don't be afraid of the prepositional phrases, of which there are many in this sentence. Identify the 2 noun-verb pairs. Who have become, actually, very good. Nice. Where's the dividing line between the 2? Nope. Scientists and who? Very good. Omar, which of those is dependent and which is independent?
Who is dependent, the other one?
Correct. What is who, the who clause, the dependent who clause doing?
It's modifying scientist.
Very good. Therefore, acting as? Correct. Nicely done, Omar. Okay. Tomorrow, we discuss the different sentence types, compound, complex, and so on. Now that you understand a little bit about clauses, that knowledge should all fall into place, and we'll edge toward diagramming. I am collecting that. Please pass it forward. I'm collecting that. Please pass it forward.